It is my pleasure to introduce you to TU Jack Arbuthnott, the co-producer of Life in a Day.
Hi everyone, we've got some amazing people for you here today. Firstly, Joe Walker, the editor, is going to come along. Soma, who's one of our filmmakers who shot some extraordinary footage in Bali, which we'll talk about. Here she is. An amazing trio you'll know already. Kathy, Bobby and Bob are here. Last but not least, a legend in his own lunchtime, Tim Partridge of Google. Hit us.
Questions? I have a question. Over there. Hi, this question's for the editor. I was wondering, in the sequence where you're showing all the people waking up,
yes,
and the sun is rising and so forth, it seemed to me like you chose to end that sequence with a man lying asleep. I think it was on a subway.
yes.
I was just wondering why you made that choice.
The man on the subway, no, there's a man in, do you mean the man in the underpass? In, I think it's in Milan, he's lying down, there's cars going past him.
Yeah, all I remember is it was all people waking up, but then you closed it with somebody still asleep.
Well, you know, I mean, one of the real things that appealed to me in this project was that you could sort of tell a story through Frankenstein parts, if that's it's not a very flattering way to put it, but, you know, you could create a family that doesn't really exist except that they all contribute material from around the world in one day, and so you'd have a cuckoo clock from Germany and a man listening to a Brazilian football match. He was actually in Germany, you know, the kids annoying each other in Bolivia, and the dogs snoring, I think, in London. So it was like one of those kind of things you could tell a sort of strange story. And that one, it just felt to me that we wanted to see, I don't know, just want to look at everybody, different ways of looking at people waking up, and also to reflect the global nature of this project, that it wasn't just first world people getting up and having nice muffins. There were people who were, you know, having cars screech past their heads.
Thank you.
Sorry, not a great answer. Yes?
How much of the 4,300 hours of footage did you actually sift through to...
We, shall I explain the process a little bit?
Yes, please.
So when I was brought on board in June, we were anticipating, because of YouTube Orchestra was the nearest comparable project, and they had warned us that we might get as much as 800 hours of footage. That was seriously under. It was 4,500 hours. Actually, it was 81,000 clips, and we had sent out 470 cameras to Outreach. So we bought loads and loads of little digital video cameras that you see, for example, the Peruvian shoeshine boy was shot on these little handheld cameras, and we sent those out to places where the internet didn't spread so easily. There are places in Africa which have got such slow upload speeds, it seemed the most sensible way to garner information from as wide a range as possible. We then set out getting loads of researchers from London film schools. There's an amazing international film school in London, so we needed, you know, obviously Japanese speakers, German speakers, French speakers, and I sat with them for 2 months. Kevin was busy with publicity on Eagle of the Ninth, his previous film, and he popped in from time to time, and we sent rushes out every day, and every day we'd look through and give a star rating to all the material. So the quick answer to your question is that every single clip was viewed, all the way through it. Not only viewed, but tagged in such great detail that we could, if we wanted to have if I wanted to find a shot that had a Bolivian nun and a chicken, I would be able to find it. So they went through all this material, and what we had to do, the real process for me was, I didn't cut anything for a long time, which was really scary, because normally I work on drama, and you are expected to cut the first day's rushes on day 2 and send it back to production. Here I was for 2 months, not knowing what the story was. We had no anticipation of what the story arc or what the narrative would be, if there is such a thing. So we had to find it, and the analogy is really, don't hack your way through a jungle, try and find out what the path is itself that presents, that the material presents to you. So we went through, we spotted trends, we tried to agree on what a 1-star clip or a 3-star clip would be. Briefly, 1 star was not very good. Not much thought put into it. We're putting more thought into it, tagging it than you put into filming it. 2 was good, can't really see where it might work in a montage. 3 was well shot, well thought out, interesting angles, unusual shots, of which there are many. 4 was great characters, could imagine coming back to these people or these stories. 5, which is the sort of material that's represented by the people on stage here, would be fantastic people, and basically it was, if this isn't in the film, fire me. That was the... Then we developed a 6, which was so bad, it's good. And that was all the kids dancing in the bedrooms, it was all of that. So we sifted through for 2 months, we looked at rushes. Very early on, I spotted Betsy in the car, the girl at the end who is in a thunderstorm, and I did think, oh my God, we've got an ending. We have got potential ending. If we go for this idea of a day, I mean, there's many structures in the film. It's not just the day, it's birth to death as well. And there's a sort of light to darkness sense, and with some, I think, redemption provided by Bob's family. So, yeah, ask me another question.
First off, I wanted to say congratulations on the surgery being successful, and thank you for your bravery, your whole family, for being so brave and sharing that. And finally, I wanted to ask, what happened? I know that the sound editor had a lot of requests for a clap, a breath, a sustained note sung.
Yes.
Some of that, I was hoping there would be more of it. It's in there? Is it in the music piece? Or
a large proportion of the music. There were 2 composers. Harry Gregson Williams looked after the kind of this amazingly emotional music that appears at the beginning of the film, the end of the film, the lanterns sequence, for example. And Matthew was working much more with found sounds. That's his second nature, really. He works with found sounds, and he asked people to, if people don't know the story, he asked people to clap, sing or hum a note, and to record their favourite sound. And actually, so you'll get things like there's the sound of a tennis ball that is the rhythm section of the possession section, all the things that people took out of their pockets. The music is all taken and garnered from favourite sounds that people are sent in. And so you're hearing them. I mean, the very first noise you hear is the sound of, I think it's 800 people breathing out. Mm. So, and one of the first montage sequences, which is the eggs being broken and that sort of thing, that's, and the drunk guy with his glass of wine, that's to an accompaniment of claps. And he just took 480 claps or something and put them one after the other on a count. So.
Thank you.
As an editor, I applaud what you did. It's fantastic. It's amazing that you could do this. And as you said, you made an amazing database here of all this stuff. And I wonder whether you guys will make it available in some sense for people to try their own hand in it. And maybe a book about how you did it.
Well, you're in luck because we have them. So if you visit the Life in a Day YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/lifeinaday, we built this amazing gallery where you can view almost all of the 80,000 clips that were sent in, and you can sort of browse them through tags. So my favourite is underwater, for example. So you just click underwater and you'll see all the footage that was submitted that was shot underwater, or morning or night. So you can start sort of piecing together kind of your own day using all that footage. So yes, it's all out there. But I think the books are very good.
And also here in Park City.
Oh, of course, that's a good point. So at the Festival Co-op, you can go and browse it as well. So we have some touch screens, and you can go and see all the footage that was submitted. And interestingly, I think in the film itself, there's around about 1,000 clips that were submitted. But of all the footage that was submitted that sort of didn't make it in, it's still been viewed over 5 million times on YouTube collectively. So it's still getting kind of an audience, even though it's not in the final product.
Will there be advanced search, like for the star levels and things like that?
No, so there isn't at the moment, but it's actually two systems. So the way that you're browsing on YouTube is based on the tags that people provided themselves when uploading footage, whereas the complex system that Joe and his team built used sort of human editors to kind of tag it.
But if you go to this amazing, it's designed by Aaron Coblin, is that how you say it? The genius behind that Arcade Fire video. Anyway, it's all touchscreen, and there are extra terms. There's one like ablution that Joe is obsessed with that have been added so that we've now introduced some of the research-based terms into the way you can immerse yourself in the footage.
One of the things about tags, they're a way of finding, when we didn't know what the story was going to be, one that I could explain to you that gives you an insight into how we built it, was that very early on I noticed there were an awful lot of shots of men who have cameras taking a video of their beautiful girlfriend backlit in parks. Women tended to take pictures of their men making horrendous, pompous mistakes. We invented a tag called My Beautiful Girlfriend with no gaps. And then I thought at some stage we could probably that might go into something to do with love. We have these questions that have been set up. What do you love? Who do you love? What do you fear? And I thought maybe around love we'd be able to tell the story of a relationship from a man looking at a girl in a tube to a couple celebrating their 50th anniversary, and use those shots along the way as some kind of fantasy element about a guy trying to ask a girl out on a date and his mind racing as to what might happen or not.
Over there.
I found myself, you were talking about the tags, but throughout the film, being just immersed in wondering, where is this? Where am I now? Where am I now? Like the lanterns, you said that that was an amazing sequence. So are you in the tags on YouTube? Does it tell where these were shot?
Yeah, there was a big debate in the cutting room between myself and Kevin. At one stage we tried putting the country of origin, because it's one of those things where when I was viewing, I didn't quite finish off, but we did end up in Kevin looked at 300 hours of the best material that we'd selected together. And he was constantly asking me, where's that from, where's that from? And I'd say, I have to look through the system and say Tanzania, or Tanzania, and then Uganda. And he was perennially interested in where a shot comes from. But in fact, when we tried putting it on, it felt reductive in some way. It felt obvious that this is global and we're all doing the same things really all over the world. I think there is talk of a DVD extra as a layer, subtitle layer that explains where things comes, and it does reveal some amazing coincidences. For example, we only realised when I compiled the list of countries of origin for this DVD extra that when you see the cow being slaughtered in Milan, the next shot of a man with Gli Spaghetti written on his t-shirt, he's eating a bolognese in Milan. So we found out after I'd even cut it that maybe he's eating something from the same herd. And we're undecided as to whether to credit the place where people shot the moon as Malawi or just moon.
Over there.
For those of you in the film, I'm curious, did you see anything in there that you didn't know before, or what kind of insight did you have from seeing yourself in this film?
Well, I guess what we've been saying is, for us, our personal story, when we look at the film, or the footage, and we see how far we've come now, it's remarkable. I mean, we're so excited that we're not there anymore. And
it's been very healing for us. Was that, I didn't quite understand the question.
I'm just curious, I would imagine seeing yourself on film, you might see something about your family or in yourself that maybe you didn't already know, or some kind of...
I still don't like the way I look.
You're much handsomer in person.
It is really, it's very interesting and to see our family through the lives, or through your eyes, because we're us and we live, and just to even see me talking with Bobby, I never really see that. So yeah, I mean, it was incredibly, it was just an incredible experience, and we're so proud that we are a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, you were saying yesterday about the lanterns.
Oh, yeah. So yesterday was the first time we saw the movie, and the part that I was in, where I don't like the way I look, I just thought it was so cool that right after it was the lantern sequence, and there. Sorry, but it was like all the problems that we had were going away. I don't know. That's how I felt.
I have a quick question. You know, there's certain areas like Afghanistan and Kabul and places like that where they don't like to have, you know, it's tough to get any kind of photography through. They don't like to have cameras. They don't. The women in burqas aren't supposed to be photographed and things like that. And I was wondering, you know, how they were able to get that kind of footage through, you know, through that kind of, with the government the way it is in Afghanistan.
We were very disappointed that the Afghan photographer, we couldn't manage to get him over to join us, and very proud of his contribution. I mean, that was an outreach camera that we sent out.
They can confiscate the cameras there if they want.
We work through non-profit organisations around the world to distribute the cameras. So we were working with people on the ground who kind of knew the local culture and the people there. And so they were then distributing the cameras. So it was all through non-profits.
One more. I will go there.
Why did you choose that date, and do you know that it's a holiday here?
Why did we choose it?
I think it had to be after the World Cup, but before August started.
That's right. And we didn't even know it was a full moon.
No, and then there was some discussion over whether it should be a weekday or a weekend. And for a while, I think the assumption was that it'd be more interesting if it was a weekday. But actually, I think so much of the more personal footage we wouldn't have received had it not been a Saturday.
We didn't know it was a state holiday.
We didn't know it was a holiday.
Is it a state holiday in Utah or a holiday?
Just Utah.
Yeah, well, we need that, and it's a Utah film. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.